Law versus Kakashi is a fight that I thought would be pretty cool to do, as these guys have some interesting abilities and they are kind of similar in their demeanors, and the fact that they're not, powerhouses that use overwhelming force to fight. They more so use their hacks, techniques, and different abilities to, win fights. So I thought it would be cool to match them up against each other and see who would come out on top. Now, diving straight into it, of course, I have to establish that chakra and haki will be equivalents in this fight. However, they will still keep their unique attributes, meaning observation haki would be a unique ability that Law has, and Kakashi would not have it since he wouldn't know about it. And Law wouldn't be able to walk on water as he never trained to and wouldn't know how. I hope I explained that clearly. I also want to make it clear that I'm only going to be talking about MS Kakashi, going off of his feats in the war before he got DMS, as I think there would be no point in talking about DMS Kakashi as he's one of the most broken characters in his verse. But that's a topic for another day. Of course, if you haven't, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, like this video, and turn on your post notifications as not to miss anything that I put out. All of this does a lot to support me here on the channel, and so if you enjoy what I do here, please make sure to do that. Now, what makes this fight so interesting is that both Law and Kakashi are two very versatile fighters, and their bags are very deep. With the Op fruit, Law's able to control space, teleport, and deal internal damage. He does all this by creating a room, which is pretty much his version of domain expansion. Within this perimeter is basically an operation room in which Law is the doctor, and he's able to do things that mimic actual medical operations, and he basically uses his sword as his scalpel. He's able to cut things, generate electricity, and act as a defibrillator. I mean, he's pretty much God in this room. Like, he has techniques that I don't really know what they had to do with being a doctor at all, but hey, he has them. So his bag is really deep. Kakashi, of course, has his Sharingan, Mangekyo Sharingan to be exact, which of course gives him access to Kamui. And one thing that is very important to Kakashi is his genius level battle IQ, and that's honestly what makes Kakashi such a dangerous fighter, the fact that he's incredibly smart. But yeah, both these guys' bags are pretty deep. If we were to compare stats, then yeah, I would say Law outclasses Kakashi in terms of physical strength by a lot. As is the case with most One Piece characters, Law is one of the stronger characters in his verse. He's not necessarily a brawler, but you don't get to be where he is in his career without having any sort of physical strength. So Law would be much stronger than Kakashi physically. In terms of speed, that would be very debatable for both of these guys. Speed is pretty controversial in both of their verses. When looking at Law, he was able to react to characters like Big Mom, who's at the pinnacle of strength in her verse. And the fastest person we've seen in One Piece is Kizaru. However, multiple characters have been able to react to him. We've seen Marco and Rayleigh react to him, and Big Mom should be just as fast as those guys, especially considering Rayleigh was no longer in his prime when he did that, and she should be stronger than Marco. And this doesn't make her just as fast as them, but I think it would be safe to assume that she would be relative to these guys. I mean, she is a Yonko. Not to mention she was able to go toe-to-toe with Kaido, who could also keep up with Gear 5 Luffy, who then went on to fight Kizaru in the later arc. So Big Mom should be relative to these guys in terms of speed. So if Law is able to react to her, then we could say that he probably maxes out at about relativistic speeds, although that's being pretty generous. I think we could also make those same claims for Kakashi, as in base we know that he's faster than lightning due to him being able to tag lightning. Of course, that's where he gets the term lightning cutter from. However, with databook statements, we can get him to be faster than light, specifically when he reacted to Itachi's Water Fang bullet, which was stated to be light speed back in part 1. So I think we could also put him at relativistic speeds, especially considering that he would be much stronger than he was back in part 1, as well as the fact that there are other instances in which characters seem to be moving at light speed and Kakashi was relative to those guys or just able to keep up. So in terms of speed, these guys should be pretty even, with Law probably having a slight advantage due to his shambles. However, that's only within the area of his room. It is important to mention that Kakashi would be able to analyze and understand Law's techniques way better than Law could with him, just because once again Kakashi is one of the smartest characters in his verse. It's been shown time and time again just how good he is at breaking down and understanding techniques. The best example of this is probably his fight with Pain, where he was able to learn and counter Pain's jutsu, and he did a pretty good job at fighting Pain and almost took him down if it weren't for the fact that the Ashura path came and intervened. And with the help of his Sharingan, I think this would give him a major advantage in this department as well. And Law is also very analytical, but I think Kakashi is a tier above Law in terms of this, as like I said, Kakashi Kakashi is one of the smartest in his verse. So I do think he would be able to analyze Law's techniques much better than Law could to him. And while both of these guys are versatile, Kakashi does have over 1,000 jutsu, so I mean objectively he is just more versatile than Law is. Of course, we don't really see him use anywhere close to that many jutsu in the series. Pretty much most of his jutsu are just different versions of Chidori, but for the sake of accuracy, I did want to mention that. Now, when talking about attack power and destructive capability, Kakashi has Chidori, which was strong enough to cut multiple V2 cloak Jinchuriki, and if they were equally durable to their damage output, then Kakashi's Chidori would be pretty up there in terms of destructive capabilities. As we know how strong the version 2 form is, of course we all remember the fight between Naruto and Orochimaru, and yes, we could say that Naruto was stronger than these guys since Kurama is stronger than the other Biju. However, Kakashi did this to multiple Jinchuriki, so it should be relative as he was mowing these guys down simultaneously, so I do think it would even out. However, that is just conjecture, as it's never been stated that the V2 form is equally as durable as the damage they're able to output, but I think that would make sense. And Law also has a lot of destructive abilities. He has counter shock, which delivers an electric burst, which is strong, but it's not the fight ending type of move. He has injection shot, a piercing thrust, solid mid-level attack. He has radio knife, which prevents his opponents from reattaching together after he sliced them. But his strongest moves, of course, would be gamma knife, which destroys internal organs and it bypasses most outer defenses. It is extremely lethal. He almost took down Doflamingo with this move, and his two biggest hitters are Shock Willy and Puncture Willy, and he was able to deal massive damage to Big Mom using these moves. Puncture Willy especially, Law extends his sword through the ground and pierces upward through the opponent's body, and this causes a massive internal explosion. All of Law's attacks are mostly internal based, and Puncture Willy takes this to the max. I mean, the explosion it causes is massive, and so this is by far his most destructive attack, and I think all of Law's abilities would do pretty good against Kakashi. And I would say that the strongest of these, Puncture Willy, is far stronger than the Raikiri, which at best would be town level, so Law is definitely stronger in terms of attack power, but that wouldn't automatically let him win a fight between them. Like I said, Kakashi is extremely smart and is a better fighter than Law in terms of skill, not to mention his bag is deeper due to his Sharingan and his access to many jutsu. So I think this is an extremely close fight. If I had to put a number on it, I think I would give Kakashi the fight 6 out of 10 times, which is very close. The only reason I gave Kakashi 6 was because of hacks. Law definitely beats Kakashi in terms of strength and attack power, but Kakashi's just a smarter and better fighter than he is. I mean, if Kakashi were to use something like Kamui off the rip, he could just, Kamui Law's head off. And Law might be able to get out of that if he used something like Shambles, but I wouldn't be surprised if during a fight Kakashi would realize that Law uses his sword a lot for his techniques and Law Kamui's away Law's sword. Then what does Law do? Not to mention he has Genjutsu with the Sharingan, and I think Law could break out of any Genjutsu that Kakashi puts him in. However, in order to break out of a Genjutsu, you have to first realize that you are in one. And I think Kakashi could use a subtle Genjutsu not to necessarily incapacitate Law, but more so to trick him and, get an opening for him to take him out. Now, as I said before, Law's attack power is far greater than Kakashi. So if Law is able to get a hit in on Kakashi, then I do think he will win. And I do think that is a possibility. It's not like it's impossible for Law to get a hit in on Kakashi. And if he's able to get a definitive one, then I do think he could win the fight. So that's why I think this fight is really evenly matched. But like I said, I think Kakashi is just a smarter fighter than Law is, and because they are pretty even in terms of their versatility and speed and stuff like that, I think Kakashi would be able to counter and deal with a lot of Law's moves. Like I said, Kakashi also does have the Sharingan, which is known for analyzing jutsu and techniques because he's able to copy it. And while he wouldn't be able to copy any of Law's moves, he would be able to break down just what exactly Law is doing. He would be able to understand that, hey, this guy is using a lot of techniques that correlate with, the medical field and medical operations. Kakashi would be able to figure something like that out. Kakashi is very big brained. So yeah, 6 times out of 10, I would give this fight to Kakashi. The other 4, I would give it to Law. I think that's pretty fair. It's pretty close, you know? And yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say on it. Of course, I didn't want to pull out Dual Mangekyo Sharingan Kakashi. I mean, that Kakashi is just broken, you feel me? So there was really no point in me bringing him into this discussion. Of course, I know people are going to bring up the fact that, oh, Kakashi does have stamina issues, which he does, you know, but guess what? Law also has stamina issues as well. Both of their, you know, move sets use a lot of energy and it drains their stamina pretty substantially, so I think it would kind of even out in that department. And I mean, Kamui is just pretty broken. Like I said, it's pretty broken, you feel me? If Kakashi uses it effectively, which he most likely will, you know, he would be able to take Law out, especially if they're bloodlusted. I mean, he's able to, you know, use Kamui on Sasuke's Susanoo arrow. He tried to use it on the Geto Mazo, you know, he's pretty good at using it. So yeah, I think if he were to use Kamui effectively, he could pretty much end the fight immediately. Even if Law were to slice him up, you know, Kakashi could still do that. And I mean, he would just, you know, reattach himself back together. So yeah, you feel me? That's the fight. I know a lot of people are going to be upset, but I tried to break it down as much as possible. I think I was pretty fair, you feel me? It's not like Law doesn't stand a chance. I just think Kakashi is much smarter than Law, you know. Law is also smart, but you know, Kakashi, like I said, one of the smartest in his verse, you know. So yeah, let me know if you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys did. Please let me know what type of matchups you would like to see in the future. I would be happy to do those. I really enjoy making videos like this. Once again, of course, make sure to subscribe to the channel, turn on your post notifications, like this video. That does a lot to help this channel and to help me. So be on the lookout for anything that I put out on the channel. You know, I do a lot of theory videos as well. I think you guys should give that a look. I've done a lot of One Piece theories. I think they've all been pretty good. I actually got one correct with the, you know, Imu being a devil, which of course I wasn't the only one who predicted that would be the case, but it was a prediction of mine, and yeah, I got it right. So I think others of my videos, you know, my other predictions, I think they are very likely to come true as well. You know, check out my battle analysis videos, you know, like my prime scaling video, like my prime age video that I did, you know, where I went over prime ages in One Piece. My videos where I talked about power scaling in One Piece and the issues with it, stuff like that. I love to power scale, you know, as you guys could probably tell. But yeah, make sure to give those videos a look. Of course, be on the lookout for live streams. I'm definitely going to start doing those more often. I'm really wanting to build a community here, so I would hope you guys want to participate. You feel me? Let's, you know, get together and, you know what I'm saying, converse. You know, you guys, I want you guys to reach out, talk to me, the comments of course as well. But yeah, you know, just, you know, be active. Let's be active on here, you feel me? So yeah, once again, hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm not going to talk too much. Make sure to look at everything that I have on the channel and the stuff that I'm going to be putting out, of course. And yeah, I hope you guys have a good day. And it's the boy who cries Super Saiyan signing out. Bye.